Hello, welcome back to the Watford Way. I hope you guys are having a fantastic break over this off-season period in the summer. I certainly am myself, but today we have some major Watford FC breaking news to bring you here on the channel, and it's in relation to a potential investment opportunity, not externally, but actually from yourself, from myself, and from Watford fans and wider members of the general public. Watford FC are offering us the chance to invest in a 10% stake of the club at a valuation of £17.5 million. Now, I know this is a lot of information to take in. I'm still trying to get my head around it myself, really, but we'll discuss all the pros and cons throughout this video today in just a moment. But first, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking the button down below, and let me know your thoughts and whether you'll invest in the comment section down below as well. Right, let's get into the nitty gritty then and the finer details of what this deal and what this offer means to Watford fans. So ultimately, what they are saying is that they are offering approximately 10% of the club at a valuation of £17.5 million. This values the overall football club at £175 million. They're basing this valuation off a pre-tax profit of £24.1 million in the last financial year. And what they're saying, they believe this is a fair valuation. Now, on the actual point of the valuation Watford have given themselves, I do think this is on the very, very high end of a football club valuation, especially for a club mid-table in the Championship. Looking at the past few seasons we've had, we're mid-table in the Championship, the playing squad isn't that strong. Yes, the overall infrastructure, the ground, the training grounds might be pretty good. But I do think £175 million is a very, very high valuation to put on the football club, especially when you look at a couple of big sales in the football world recently. I believe West Brom were sold earlier this year in the region of about 65 to 70 million pounds. And I would say in terms of size of club, West Brom and Watford are on a pretty similar playing field there, really. And West Brom there sold themselves essentially for less than half of what Watford are valuing themselves at today. Newcastle, again, of course, a very, very high profile club indeed, a humongous fan base, of course. They sold themselves for, I believe, just over £300 million, which again, you know, is quite a low figure for Newcastle, really. So I think my thoughts on the valuation, firstly, is that it's a very high valuation. I'd love to see, apart from the pre-tax profit, which they've posted in this email here, in the last financial year of £24.1 million, I'd love to know what else went into getting to that valuation itself. But we'll leave that topic there, I think, for now. In terms of the price you have to pay, that you would have to pay, that I would have to pay to invest in Watford. If you're based in the European Union, or based in the EU, I should say, which includes the United Kingdom, you have to buy a minimum of 4 shares at a value of £12.44 per share, which takes your overall investment to just under £50. Now, remember, I do have to caveat this and say I'm not a financial expert, so please remember, any investment you make is, of course, a risk. You can lose all of your investment. You can equally make profits on your investment. But remember, in regards to shareholding and financial investments, it's a very risky business. So please do your due diligence in regards to this in particular. But yes, the price per share has been set at £12.44, and the minimum investment for people residing in the European Union is £49.76, so just under £50. Part of the funding, it says in the email, will be channeled into recruitment to strengthen Tom Cleverley's playing squad as we seek a return to the Premier League. Now, we've seen this statement and this sentence plastered over Watford FC programmes, statements, news articles over the past couple of seasons, the return to the Premier League. Ultimately, that is the big pot of gold sitting at the end of the rainbow. If Watford can indeed get promoted this season or next season, for example, ultimately there is maybe a opportunity for your investment to rise. And that's essentially what Watford is saying in this email. If you invest in us and we succeed as a club, that should reward everybody who invested at this stage where we're at currently. It does concern me that part of the funding will be channeled into recruitment. It concerns me that we clearly have run out of options, because I don't think Watford would have got to this stage, without consulting potentially other investors. And we've seen this, I mentioned this at the start of the video. Goldman Sachs Bank, the former founder of that, was looking to put together a consortium to invest into numerous clubs around Europe. And one of them clubs was apparently meant to have been Watford. That's all gone very, very quiet. A few days ago, we had an article from Adam Leventhal in The Athletic talking about potentially Anthony Joshua, who is, of course, a very successful boxer, potentially investing into Watford as well. That's all gone quiet since that article. And now suddenly we've received this email offering fans the chance to invest in the club. Now, I look at this and I go, actually, there is a comparison to be made here. Now, if you look at Germany, all German clubs are fan-owned. However, the difference is they are literally fan-owned. They don't have a minority stake. They are fan-owned, which means they have overall control of the football club. They have voting rights in board meetings. They can have a representative in there to kind of put their own thoughts across when big decisions are made at these clubs. Whereas for Watford, if you invested, you would not be able to sit in on a board meeting, for example. You wouldn't have any voting rights in regards to big decisions that are made at the football club. It's literally just you investing into the football club that you love, and hoping that you may one day see a return on that investment. If you do, that means Watford are doing well and you've seen a return. If you don't, well, that's ultimately a risk of you investing your money into this project. But yes, they do say in this email, part of the funding will be channeled into recruitment to strengthen Tom Cleverley's playing squad as we seek a return to the Premier League. They go on to say, we believe this project can form a key strand of football's future finance, where investors and supporters alike can enjoy the fruits of the club's future success. Now it says you can enjoy the fruits of the club's future success there. That is by no means a guarantee. Watford might have an awful next 5 years. You might get relegated to League One. No one knows exactly what is going to happen. So again, I do have to caveat Watford's statement there with the fact that investments are a risk. If you invest £50, £100, £1,000, £10,000 into Watford, yes, in a couple of years' time, we might be in the Premier League and you might see a profit on that investment, a return on your investment. But equally, it could go very, very badly wrong and you could lose on your investment as well. So I just want to make that very clear for you today. And it does say in the email, do not invest unless you are prepared to lose all of the money you invest. This is a high risk investment and you are unlikely to be protected if something goes wrong. So yeah, a very interesting development at Watford today. As I said earlier, there is a slight comparison to be made in regards to the German fan ownership model. That's called the 50+1 ownership model, which means essentially fans own 51% of German clubs, which gives them overall control, of course. That is not the case with this investment specifically. This is just Watford looking for funds. They've turned to fans because, at least it seems from my perspective, they've not been able to gain investment from other sources. So they've come to us. They've offered us a 10% stake. You can invest however much you want. Ultimately, it's up to you. What will I be doing ultimately is the conclusion of this video. I will not be investing. You might not be surprised to know that I'm not a very wealthy individual. And at the moment, in this current economic climate, I should say, I am not willing to invest my money into the club at the moment. I think I do enough given my support from the stands. I pay for my season ticket every year. I sit here, I create these videos. I think I do enough personally as a fan to warrant how much money I spend at the moment. But it's entirely up to you and you alone whether you invest into the club. So I hope I've done a good job explaining the current situation. As I said, I'll caveat it with the fact that I am not a financial expert, but ultimately I hope I've covered pretty much the basics there of what this means for fans going forward. And yeah, maybe we'll hear some more information on it soon. It says there are some benefits as well to investors, such as stadium tours, designated areas within the stadium for investors to go pre and post match, as well as other benefits to be potentially announced in due course. So that's another thing to consider as well, of course, if that interests you specifically. But yes, in conclusion, it does concern me that we haven't been able to find investment elsewhere. I think that is a major concern to me. Ultimately, yes, the last financial year, as they stated, Watford did post a pre-tax profit of £24.1 million. But as well, you have to consider the fact that that was due to major sales. Joao Pedro, Ismaila Sarr. And of course, we had the parachute payments from the Premier League at that time as well. That is not the case anymore. Watford are solely operating without any Premier League payments whatsoever. And so ultimately, the majority of profit attained by Watford now will either come from promotion to the Premier League or from major player sales and profit from them sales. So yes, that is my own take on the investment opportunity that has been given to us today. Let me know your own thoughts in the comments section down below, and I'll see you again very soon for another Watford FC video. Bye bye.